Welcome back, everybody, to What Do You Know with Nick and Devin. I am Devin.
And I'm Nick.
Thanks for being here, everybody. Nick, were you? I have to use the past tense for this question. You'll find out why in a second.
Okay.
Were you like an MTV guy, VH1, like music videos?
Not like a religious sort of aspect. Like that's not what I meant. I didn't watch it like regularly. Yeah. I would say more so like if it was on, fine.
Okay.
But I wasn't like, I don't know. Yeah.
It wasn't like I gotta watch this stuff because like you have an older brother.
Yeah.
What's the age difference?
2 years, and he wasn't watching MTV and
Okay.
VH1. If anything, it was gonna be me. But like that's that's like when friends talk about like TRL and things like that. I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But remember like the countdowns in the morning? I remember like sometimes we would watch that.
Right.
And that was fun. But then as of like 2001, I feel like we just kind of like, we're okay.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like that's kind of when MTV petered off.
Drop.
Yeah.
But then that was VH1. I love the 90s or I love the 80s. And
Yeah.
they were like, we can still do this. You're like, it's okay.
It's okay.
You can take a breath
Go back
now.
to sleep.
Right, exactly.
Back into retirement.
Yeah.
My sister is 7 years older than me, so she was more of the age of
Got it. Okay.
MTV and VH1, watching the I forget what they were called. There was like the pop-up music videos where it was like the little bubble of information.
I think it was just pop-up video.
I think so too.
Pop-up video.
That was my favorite because I was like, oh, this is fun information. A fucking nerd that
are
I
a nerd.
always was.
Like, how did they do that?
I was like, oh, this was filmed in like a back alley in a small town in Virginia. How fun.
How fun? Okay.
You didn't often spend your time in back alleys of a small town in Virginia?
I'm going to say 100% no.
You're missing out.
You're missing With that voice, exactly.
Think of all the fun things you can do in Virginia.
In back alleys.
I'm pretty sure those are just called the mountains.
That's Appalachia at its finest. Yeah,
Cool. So the reason why I asked you...
Appalachia. Is that what we're talking about today?
No. Although would be a fun one. There's so much weird shit happening in the Appalachians that no one knows about.
Like the whistling thing? Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's too spooky. And not like too spooky, but like it's a little creepy and eerie.
No, it's very spooky.
Yeah.
Very creepy, very eerie.
Spooky, creepy, airy.
Yeah. Also, quick plug to these beautiful mugs.
Yes. My brother-in-law created these. These are very cute. There's like a whole like nutritional thing on the back, which is fun.
Yeah. For those of you just listening and not watching on YouTube, we have.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was like, everyone watch.
We're drinking out of some branded coffee mugs that Nick's brother-in-law gifted him for the holiday, and it has the same graphics on as the soup cans of our main logo, where we're talking to each other throughout.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're very cute, and like of course like nutritional facts are like humor. 35, like 30%. I was like, only 30%.
Only 30%.
That's rude. Anyway, but these are fun.
I just noticed the catchphrases include wild. That's fucking hilarious. So the reason why I brought up MTV
Yes.
and VH1 was mostly for the music video aspect, because that's what's related to my topic. And I wanted to ask you, what do you know about the Max Headroom incident?
Yes. Chicago.
If
I close my eyes, I'll remember everything. Chicago. All I remember, it was like Chicago, maybe the 80s. Chicago 80s break and broadcast. And I feel like I can kind of picture like The Mask, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
all I got.
You're pretty much there.
Great. Shut her down.
That's everything. So I'm going to be talking about the Max Headroom incident.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're going to first talk about the first incident.
There were multiple?
The first incident.
Okay.
37 years ago, on Sunday, November 22nd, 1987, at 9:14 p.m. CST.
You're really leaning into this true crime aspect. For someone who is vehemently against it, you are
I'm like
in it.
irking close.
Yeah, exactly. A little guilty pleasure.
Channel 9 WGN News is underway.
God bless WGN, by the way.
Right? Absolutely.
Honestly, I mean, it really is the best out there. I don't watch it at all, but like, we'll die for
If
WGN.
I were,
Yeah.
So Channel 9 WGN News is underway. And the sports report is talking about last year's Super Bowl champs, the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, that's right.
Obviously. The signal cuts out, black screen for about 15 seconds until it returns with a person wearing a Max Headroom mask. The background of this new broadcast appears to be this rotating piece of corrugated metal.
Okay.
The signal was fuzzy and garbled, and the person wearing the mask is rocking to and fro.
Creepy.
Very creepy.
I don't like that.
This scene lasts for about 20 seconds.
That's actually a long time.
Very. Yeah. So it's about 35 seconds of cut time from the WGN broadcast, 20 being this eerie scene.
It's half of our minisodes.
Hey, make sure you're watching our minisodes.
Yeah, exactly. Nice plug. Shameless plug.
The engineers at WGN changed the frequency that links the broadcast studio to the transmitter, cutting off the signal from the hijacker. They're able to react fairly quickly.
Yeah.
When WGN News at 9 returns to the TV screen, sports broadcaster Dan Roan says, "Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I." That's the first incident.
Okay.
Dan Roan winds up restarting the sports broadcast or the sports section of his broadcast. He's like, "I'm just going to start over." No one really knows what happened. So, who is Max Headroom?
Yeah.
Let's answer that question. That's an easy question to answer.
Oh, okay.
So Max Headroom was advertised as the first computer-generated TV presenter.
Oh, okay.
In reality, while he gave off a computer-generated visual,
it
was actually a character created by George Stone, Annabelle Jankel, and Rocky Morton, and was portrayed by Matt Frewer. Because it's Frewer.
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 Yeah. Matt Frewer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you're throwing some R's in few.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's what's really tripping me up.
Yeah. He's like, it's actually Frower. And you're like, all right. Yeah, right.
Anyway, so we have Max Headroom being portrayed by Matt Frewer. Through the use of prosthetics, a plastic molded suit, a blue screen, lighting, and editing effects, this gave the illusion of an AI TV host.
Oh, got it. Okay. Does he have orange hair?
It's almost like a highlighter yellow that through the lighting effects sometimes looks orange. It's very glitchy kind of a presentation to give it more of that computer effect. To the point where Matt also imitated those glitches and animatronic motions and even stuttered sometimes to further sell the effect of him being an animatronic person.
And that's called commitment.
That's called acting. So Max Headroom actually first appeared in the 1985 short film, made for TV short film titled Max Headroom 20 Minutes into the Future.
Okay.
Like I said, it was a TV movie that showed the origin of the character Max Headroom. I'm going to be saying that name quite a lot. And this movie depicted a near-distant dystopian cyberpunk future where classic cyberpunk themes, corrupt corporations are controlling the world for wealth and even just TV ratings.
Yeah. And the year was 2023.
Right. And so in the movie, Edison Carter, played by Matt Frewer, is a reporter, and he is on the run from these corporations trying to track him down. Because he is a reporter trying to uncover a lot of this corruption and get down to the whys and, being a good reporter.
Yeah.
So he's on the run and has an accident, suffering head trauma after crashing into a sign that reads Max Headroom 2.3 meters.
Okay.
So Edison's conscious, his brain, is used as a basis for this new AI who wakes up and calls itself Max Headroom.
Got it.
Apparently, in the plot of the film, Edison recovers and continues to uncover corruption, while the AI becomes a TV host and uses its wit to criticize society and the media.
You get it. The natural, progression of things. You get it.
So from this movie, this was all airing first off in the UK. So this was all BBC stuff going on. So the first TV show aired from April 6, 1985 for 3 seasons to 1987 and was titled The Max Headroom Show. Okay. And it premiered as a music video show with the titular character presenting the videos and acting as what they called a video jockey, or VJ for short.
No.
I don't like that they called it a VJ.
I don't like that at all. We're never saying that again. You're saying video jockey. You're saying the full word.
It's really the only time I ever say it.
Okay.
But I think I might throw in VJ every now and then.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So the early concept of the show didn't have credits or an opening scene either. It was just static. Like the show started and ended with static to give the illusion of Max Headroom hijacking the channel and the broadcast signal.
Okay.
We're getting some similarities here.
I'm seeing some parallels. I get it.
And through their editing work and their special effects, the show actually wound up winning the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, or BAFTA, award for graphics in 1986 because of how many people believed that Max Headroom was a computer animated puppet. Really? Like they were able to present it in such a way with the prosthetics, with Matt Frewer's acting and the graphics behind him, that it was like, yeah, here you go. Here's an award for you.
Do you feel like we could do that today? Like, I think technology is too advanced to where we could be like fooled like that.
Well, it's funny because I mentioned in a little bit how Max Headroom actually has like a cameo in the 2015 hit Pixels with Adam Sandler and his buddies.
What? Never seen or heard of this movie.
And during my research, I saw that like they had to like essentially dumb down their effects on Matt Frewer because to make it look more like he was stuttering and being a little bit more of that computer generated like back in the 80s.
Oh.
Like they had to like
it was too clean.
Yeah. Like our current technology is too clean to be able to provide that stuttering effect.
Interesting. I guess if you're trying to replicate something from the 80s, like I get that.
It's tough, yeah.
Right.
It's like more work.
Right. Well, because I think about, we just watched Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny. And in some of the beginning scenes, like it's a young Harrison Ford.
Right.
It's Harrison Ford playing himself, but then it's like
they age him down,
and it's kind of creepy. And you're like, oh, CGI is like a little too good right now.
Yeah, well, especially with all like the deep fake stuff out there, and like just any type of AI generated image being able to fill in the blanks, essentially.
Right.
They won't be able to do a whole project at the moment, but like being able to fill in the blanks, I think we have too good of technology to be able to fool people. Well,
it is fooling, but it's also, I think there was such innocence.
Yeah.
And like there was such believability on the like consumer part. That it was easier to do from that. I think there's so much skepticism now that it's kind of like, oh, that's probably a fake, even if it might be real. Like there's too much of that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I agree.
I was gonna say naivete, and then
It's okay.
I caught myself.
It's okay. Just be yourself.
Lean into it more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a safe space.
I'm gonna use $10 words more often.
Perfect. We'll be rich.
$10. Yeah. We'll be rich.
All right. So the show gets the BAFTA award. And doubling down on Max being a computer-generated character, Matt Frewer actually was under contract to hide his identity and involvement in the project. They really wanted everyone to believe this is a computer, folks. No one's here.
Interesting. False advertising.
Well, I'm just kidding. Eventually, as the show got more popular, Matt Frewer's involvement became public, obviously.
Sure.
And the show actually got popular enough to where it was also being broadcast in the U.S.
Oh,
They're
okay.
like, this is great. Or at least being watched in the U.S.
Sure.
So the show's second and third year evolved to include a live studio audience and celebrity interviews, becoming more like a late night talk show, but also still had music videos intertwined.
Okay.
And then between the second and third season that aired, there was a Christmas special titled Max Headroom's Giant Christmas Turkey in the UK. And in the US, it was titled The Max Headroom Christmas Special. I like Giant Christmas Turkey better.
Right.
It goes along with like the VJ part, but you know.
But we didn't make turkeys in the US for Christmas. You make ham.
Oh.
That's why. Because, you know,
in the Christmas Carol, he was like, oh, get the biggest turkey from the window.
Yeah, but I think we just always promote ham.
Huh.
It's the big pork, you know what I mean?
I guess.
Coming down the pipe.
Big pork for Santa.
Yeah, exactly.
Hated all that. Anyway, so supposedly, but it's hard to confirm, the Christmas special was written by other people, but also written by one George R.R. Martin.
What?
Famous for Game of Thrones, obviously. Yeah. And other things probably,
but mostly famously known,
Game of Thrones. But so George did supposedly also work on the show's regular episodes, but he has definitive credits for an unaired episode for the ABC version of the show.
Oh, okay.
So here's the second show, the one that aired on ABC, completely different from the BBC version where it's a talk show.
Okay.
The ABC version that aired in the US after the 3 seasons of the talk show version was a more dramatic rendition of the character and the world created by the original TV movie. This show was just called Max Headroom.
Okay.
So this series started off with like a retelling of the first movie and developed its plot from there. There was a more dramatic, linear version of the whole story.
Okay.
And it only aired for 2 seasons from 1987 to 1988.
Oh, okay.
Short-lived.
Did Frewer also participate in that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All of Max Headroom has always been, as far as I know, portrayed by Matt Frewer.
Got it.
So like the popularity of both shows actually, the popularity of both shows made Max Headroom kind of a pop icon for those short couple of years.
Sure, yeah.
So between the movie and the two TV shows, like I said, he was very popular. He became a global spokesperson for New Coke, slinging the catchphrase "Catch the Wave." New Coke, for people who don't remember, I didn't. It only lasted from 1985 to 2002, which is a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Was just a reformulation of the Coca-Cola recipe.
And today's product is not still New Coke. They went back, right?
I think so.
Yeah. But
they didn't put the cocaine back in it.
Put it back in.
Maybe that's what they were getting away from in the 80s. They're like, there's a cocaine problem for some reason.
Honestly, if 2024 could use anything, it's Coke and my Coke.
Right. Well, and then like I know Pepsi was trying to be like, Pepsi's for the young kids. But like I think that maybe that's why New Coke came around, because Pepsi was like, it's for the kids. And it's like, oh, but New Coke is for the kids. Catch the wave.
Well, I wonder when Clear Pepsi came out. Was it before or after New Coke?
I think it was during New Coke. Because I think Clear Pepsi was in the 90s.
Oh, I thought it was in the 80s.
I don't know.
Look it up. Let us know.
Max Headroom made his U.S. network TV debut on Late Night with David Letterman. He was parodied and referenced in many forms of media, including Back to the Future 2, Spaceballs, Eminem's Rap God music video, portrays himself as Max Headroom. And then, like I said, he had a cameo in the 2015 hit Pixels.
Yep. Hit is what you're going with?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Max Headroom actually came back to TV in 2007 in informative commercials, making viewers aware of the digital switchover taking place at that time. Prior to 2007, for those of you who don't know, we had analog digital signals coming into our TVs. You had rabbit ears, all that fun stuff. Now it's all digital through wires and good stuff.
Yep. It's weird when you watch, because like we just rewatched all of Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
And so it's weird. Fantastic. Don't oh God me. It's weird when they do the switch. Like you can see it in the camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
in the quality. Yeah. Allie is rewatching Survivor from the beginning.
Oh.
2000, I think, is when the first season. It might be like 2000, 2001.
Okay.
And slowly through the years, you could see the ratio of the camera getting wider and wider away from the square. It's really funny. Max was used to let people know that the digital switchover is taking from the analog. But in this appearance, he was wearing aged makeup to make himself look older.
Okay.
On top of the normal costume to show that Max Headroom was ill, older, obsolete in the upcoming new digital age.
Yikes. Way to kill
Dramatic.
him off. My God. Like, we didn't need all that.
However, as of July 2022, there has been a report of a reboot in the works through AMC with Matt Frewer returning as Max Headroom.
Yeah, but now we got the technology where he's just got to do the voiceover.
I'm curious. Yeah, we're going to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
All the articles are just, there's no recent article being like, it's happening. There was just articles from 2022 being like, this is on paper.
Sure. Okay. It's being floated around.
Yeah.
Got it.
We'll see what happens. Let's talk about the second incident.
What a dramatic hard turn. Okay.
I put my notes together specifically.
Yeah, You're a good storyteller. You
Back to November 22nd, 1987. 11:20 p.m.
Wait. What was the day of the first incident?
November 22nd, 1987. November 22nd, 1987.
Okay. Same day, different
If you let me finish, at 11:20 p.m., 2 hours after the first incident on WGN. God, there goes the freaking vibe.
Sorry.
It's fine. WTTW, the local PBS, public broadcasting service station, was airing Horror of Fang Rock from Doctor Who. What up?
I was going to say, I always thought that WTTW was just what it was across the nation.
No, it's not.
And then people said other things, and I was like, what are you talking about? It was WTTW.
Yeah, no.
I don't like that. I think that has the best, like,
well, it's fun
sequence
to say.
Yeah.
So we're watching Doctor Who on WTTW, our local PBS station. There's some static as the signal switches over to the hijacker's broadcast, and the same masked figure appears, this time with audio.
Oh.
The first words you hear as the signal cuts in, he's a frickin' nerd. I'm sorry. I think I'm better than Chuck Swirsky. Frickin' liberal. Chuck Swirsky is another sportscaster, WGN.
Okay.
And the audio for this is very disturbing sounding. It's deeply distorted, so the voice is also masked by the Max Headroom mask.
Yep.
And it's sometimes throughout the video, if you watch it, it's kind of hard to make out exactly what they say, but it's all just like up and down cadence because of the garbled distortion.
Okay.
Background of this video is still the same rotating sheet of corrugated metal, and the hijacker acts even more manic this time. They pick up a can of Pepsi and say, "Catch the wave," then flip off the camera with what appears to be a hollowed out dildo over their middle finger.
What?
A mix of noises and exclamations follow, including humming the theme song of Clutch Cargo. Don't know what that is, but 80s. He then talks about his bowel movements and how he made his piles, he calls them.
Oh my God.
and how he made a giant masterpiece for all the greatest world newspaper nerds. WGN, for people who don't know, actually stands for World's Greatest Newspaper. That's what he was talking about, the nerds at WGN.
Did you know that before you researched this?
I think I did.
It was like in the recesses of your mind?
Yeah, yeah. It's something that I wouldn't need to know every day, but here we are.
I feel like, because it's on the banner. I think it says WGN, and then it's in white, but on the blue it says World's Greatest News. Oh, but I think it's news, because we don't really do this paper anymore.
I think they cut it down to news nowadays, since they're mostly like TV.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the video cuts, hard, crude edit, to the image of the hijacker bent over, partially exposing their ass.
Oh my God.
It's really disturbing. Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, that's sad.
The mask is off their face, but their like head remains hidden.
Okay.
It's off screen. But the mask is like wiggling in the shot.
Okay.
On the far left of the screen. And then a female figure,
I was going to say, so there's multiple people involved.
Yes.
Okay.
Then a female figure appears wearing a French maid outfit, also masked, but not another Max Headroom mask. It's something different.
Okay.
They appear on the right side of the screen and says, "Bend over, bitch," and proceeds to spank the fake Max with a fly swatter.
What acid trip is this
incident? Wild. It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
So the hijacker, once they proceed to getting spanked, cries out, "Make it stop," and other manic things until finally the image fades out into static and the regular programming resumes. Back to Doctor Who.
So WDTW, like PBS, had no idea this was happening.
Correct. They didn't.
Okay.
So the whole event lasts about 90 seconds. All of that shit, 90 seconds.
Okay.
In and out. Unlike the WGN transmission, there weren't any engineers on duty at the time of the hijacking because it's 11:20 p.m.
Yeah.
They're just airing Doctor Who. Why do we need anyone there?
Right. Exactly.
So there weren't any engineers on duty at the station's broadcast tower, which was located at Sears Tower.
Oh, okay.
Now Willis Tower.
Yeah, thank you.
To counteract the pirate broadcast. So they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Air director Paul Rizzo said, quote, "As the content got weirder, we got increasingly stressed out about our inability to do anything about it." End quote.
Oh, that's so sad.
They just had to watch it happen.
But also, what a great... I mean, like, kind of like you want to know what's going to happen next. Like, as much as you're
do
like...
it for the plot kind of situation.
Right. Like, as much as you're like, I need to run down there and stop it, I'm also like, but like, what are they going to do next?
Right. Because like...
Also, how do you hollow out a dildo? You know what I mean?
I'm not going to do that how-to video.
That's Friday's mini-sode. Yeah.
What do you know about hollowing out a dildo?
Step by step.
Hi, Mom. So the broadcast only ended when the hijackers ended their transmission.
Right.
They took those 90 seconds, cut it.
Which is interesting that's like all they had planned.
Well,
I feel like we're not going to get away with it.
Right. My next section is how done it. How'd they do it?
Oh, okay.
Instead of who done it, how done it.
I was like, where are you going with that?
And part of it is, and I'll kind of get into maybe why it only lasted 90 seconds.
Okay.
So essentially how they did it was, this is all theorized, essentially they overpowered the original broadcast by transmitting a more powerful microwave transmission.
Oh, okay.
So this signal that the hijackers sent to the broadcast towers triggered what's called a capture effect.
Okay.
And that's essentially what happens when two signals broadcast the same frequency. The stronger one just muscles its way onto air.
Got it. Okay.
So like, when you're driving on a road trip, you'll listen to your favorite radio station and eventually it kind of cuts out and some other station garbles in over.
Yeah.
Because the frequency from your hometown station is getting weaker and the station from the other town is getting stronger. So it's going to be able to muscle its way over your current radio station.
Okay. Science.
Remember SETI? Since this was before the digital switch that took place in the 2007, 2009 era, while it was still a difficult task to manage, it was still possible for the hijackers to accomplish in 1987.
Sure.
So experts believe that the signal hijackers would have needed to be in line of sight of both stations, of WGN and WTTW.
Okay.
Their broadcast towers. They would need the technical knowledge to do this, and would also need a lot of power to transmit that strong of a signal to overpower the station's own transmission.
I feel like that really narrows down the pool of where they could have been.
Well, the line of sight part is easy because both towers were located on top of skyscrapers, or at least tall buildings in Chicago. So, like, you kind of have
the
a
surrounding
wide area.
Okay, yeah.
But the power is what's tricky. Having that much juice to send that strong of a signal is why I think it only lasted 90 seconds. Because how are they going to be able to maintain that amount? Much?
Okay.
Because then you could also, if the feds... I don't know if this happened. God, I'm turning into a true crime podcast. I fucking hate
really
this.
You really are.
Because I feel like the feds could then be like, okay, so where was the power spike? Let's talk to ComEd.
Right.
Where was the power spike to manage this?
Did they?
I don't know.
Oh.
There isn't much into the investigation.
Got it. Okay. And is it an unsolved mystery?
Once again, I am presenting an unsolved mystery.
Did you say that earlier?
For the Chicago Tylenol murders.
Yeah, no, I know, but I meant for this one.
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry, when you said that, it made it seem like once again. And I was
No.
I was like, I didn't hear you say it the first time. Sorry.
No. My Chicago Tylenol murders episode also went unsolved. I mean, it was solved.
We know. Yeah.
So who done it? No one knows.
Okay.
No one came forward. Why would you? About the incident, and no one was charged from the official investigation. Although it has been speculated, of course, that it was a former and or current disgruntled employee of WGN that was behind the hijacking.
I feel like no one's old enough yet. Like, it's still relatively recent enough to where no one's like on their deathbed being like, oh, I was that person.
Yeah.
And from what you're describing, it makes it feel like they were younger too.
Yeah, because
that note, yeah.
It's also like, other than potentially being an employee of WGN, they could have possibly been a member of Chicago's underground hacker community.
Well, like, that's exactly what I thought.
Right.
What the fuck?
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, that would make much more sense. Like, a younger person, who those younger folks are always into the technology, those are the folks that, like, hacked into the early computers and stuff like that, created video games. Younger audience watching the music videos of Max Headroom, being a Max Headroom fan.
Well, and like 80s antics.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So the FCC said those responsible would face a maximum fine of $10,000 and up to a year in prison. That's kind of a slap on the wrist.
Bad. You would get it down from that.
Right. However, with a 5-year statute of limitations, after 1992, the people responsible for the broadcast would no longer face any criminal punishment should they want to reveal themselves.
But no one ever has.
So if you're listening, come on and be a guest.
Come on down.
Wouldn't that be awesome if we got them to be a guest on our podcast?
And then your dad walks through the door. It was me.
Yeah. So yeah, it's another unsolved mystery presented by me for you.
Is that your new catchphrase? Presented by me for you. Come be a local Chicago podcast.
We can break that story. I think that'd be hilarious.
That would be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
You know what? We'll all wear
Max Headroom masks. Yeah. So your identity won't even have to be known. I just want to ask about it.
I just want to know more.
Yeah.
I want to know how you did it.
Cool.
I want to know where you did it.
Yeah.
Like, and also why PBS?
I feel like that was just like an easy one to get.
Like, but did you want to go to WGN and then you knew that WGN was on high alert, so then you went to PBS? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
get a lot of questions. Also, why max headroom? Why a fly swatter?
Right. Like,
why do you
not,
call
like,
them piles?
a riding crop? Let's get...
Clearly the more superior choice
Right.
here. Right, exactly. Yeah, we just have questions.
Right.
Were you disgruntled? Were you in the hacker community? Are you Matt's Frauer?
Frewer?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the max headroom incident.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a
fun.
I recommend looking up the videos of both hijackings. Like I said, they're all very short videos. But it's just so, like, my description couldn't capture how disturbing it really was. And I can't imagine just being like some person staying up late watching Doctor Who, having a good time,
Right.
maybe a little under the influence of one or two things, just enjoying it, and then all of a sudden this horrifying corrugated metal background starts rotating in front of you, and this garbled voice is laughing and flipping you off with a dildo. Wild.
My question is, did you ask your parents if they remember the incident? Because it feels very like local Chicago news, not very like national.
No. I didn't ask any. I didn't get any primary sources.
All right, thanks. Third grade research paper. That's kind of, it feels like and then you kind of move on. Like, it is like a staple within like a fun like local Chicago history, but it also just kind of feels like, why did that happen?
Yeah, the incident didn't really spark a lot of hubbub.
What was the point?
It was just kind of like, yeah, exactly. Like, nothing came about it. There was no threat to national security,
right,
or like bank accounts or anything like that. It wasn't a some type of like terror attack. It was just a funny prank at the end of the day.
I guess. But also, what a massive prank to pull off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's a huge prank, and like nothing bad came of it except like the fuck.
Yeah.
And so like even news stories were like, hey, this happened, and then a couple days later they didn't talk about it. Like, no one, I think too, since it no one came forward, nothing came of the from the investigation. Like, why should we talk about it anymore?
Were there any like major crime incidents that night? Maybe it was a distraction.
Maybe.
You should look that up. Now I'm just throwing theories.
Right.
True crime.
No true crime podcast. We're done shutting it down. I'm not doing a single crime for a whole year.
That's a lie. Next episode's gonna absolutely be a true crime thing. My other question is, how does Chuck feel? You know, clearly they felt like they were the superior broadcaster.
You know what? I'll get him on the line.
Yeah. Hey, Chuck. Thanks for jumping on. Amazing. All right. Well, thanks, Devin. Thanks for sharing that. That's fun. I do want to watch those videos because, as disturbing as they seem, I did just watch Saltburn. So really, you can't get much more disturbing after that.
So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
All right. Catch us on all forms of social media.
Oh, yeah.
WDYK _podcast. And we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.